Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, it's Jinzo here. Today, I have a story about traders who have made millions of dollars with very little effort. This is not about the Dota pros who won the international and took home a lot of money. This is a story that no one has really talked about in any detail up until, well, right now. Online journalists know very little about video games, let alone trading. They're only interested in clickbaiting and view counts and do not understand the technical aspects behind video games at all. Yes, I'm looking at the people who work for IGN and GameSpot. I sincerely hope you run out of business one day, because apparently every Call of Duty game deserves 10 out of 10, don't they, you dirty sellouts? How much are you being paid for this, I wonder? Anyway, the content of this video is completely true. Don't just take my word for it, of course. Lurk around on Reddit, and some fast Googling will convince you. All the Dota 2 traders do not need convincing, because you know the facts have not been exaggerated here. The point is, it would be very unfortunate for a story like this to be lost and forgotten forever. So sit tight and listen up. People have made jokes about paying real cash for virtual items since the beginning of MMORPGs, from RuneScape to World of Warcraft. Why would you pay real money for items that don't exist in the real world? I would love to discuss this in a later video, but today we are talking about Dota, a MOBA, not an MMORPG. So what actually happened then? In October 2012 came the release of DoTA2, a mode in Dota 2 made for Halloween, where players competed to kill Roshan, who is a boss in the game. The players who managed to kill Roshan the fastest were awarded with a very rare item, the Golden Baby Roshan. I won't go into detail about the item itself, but the only key fact you need to know for now is that only 70 Golden Roshans were given out in this event and would be discontinued forever. So what happened next? Valve's biggest mistake was making these items tradable. Well, as you can imagine, in a video game played by millions of people, these Golden Roshans were in high demand. Within a week, they were worth $100 each and were snatched up by traders willing to make the investment. Within a month, Golden Roshans were already worth $1,000 each. However, smarter traders held on to many of these Roshans, believing they would increase even further in price later on. Unsurprisingly, shitposting, clickbaiting journalists began writing about how Dota 2 couriers were selling for $1,000 a pop, but their understanding ends there. It was too complex for their tiny brains to grasp. Regardless, the price continues to rise as the Dota 2 trading scene gets bigger. You see, Dota 2 was still in its beta phase, and the game was not available in China yet, as Valve had not found a distributor there. Now, let me tell you, a lot of the big traders knew it, that when the Chinese market opens up, these Golden Roshans are going to be worth a hell of a lot more. So the prices of these items rose and rose, from $100 to $1,000 to $5,000, and eventually peaking at $10,000 to $15,000 in late 2013, depending on which type of Golden Roshan you had. I knew a friend who bought many Golden Roshans along with other items for a few $1,000s in 2012. The trading scene laughed at how people would pay so much for these items. Well, those laughs were quickly snuffed out when the Chinese players came to the scene, and that 5,000 inventory quickly became $150,000 real cash value. Funnily enough, the next part of the story involves Bitcoin. It is a virtual currency that is decentralized and not controlled by any bank, but has real currency value attached to them. Dota 2 prices peaked just before the virtual currency Bitcoin did. People needed a way to prevent chargebacks, as there are a lot of scammers in online trading, as you can imagine. Bitcoin was the only reliable system that prevented people from charging back their money, so a lot of Dota 2 traders turned to Bitcoin, and the sales pitch, have Golden Roshan, want Bitcoin, became common on the forums. Eventually, Chinese traders ended up buying up huge amounts of Bitcoin, trading them for Dota items. What we didn't know at the time was that these Bitcoin would go up by a substantial amount, making these Dota trades seem small in comparison. At the time, Bitcoin was only worth around $80 each. The risk-averse traders sold off their Golden Roshan and cashed out a healthy $10,000. Some greedy traders kept on to these Roshans, hoping they would go up more and more. But today, well, let's just say they aren't worth nearly as much. The smart Dota traders, though, started doing research on Bitcoin, and the few that had the courage held on to Bitcoin and decided to surf the tide. Come November 2013, Bitcoin peaks at $1,200. So, given that a lot of Dota items were sold off at around $80 to $100 per Bitcoin, the handful of Dota traders that held on to their coins are laughing hysterically because Bitcoin is now worth $1,200 each in November 2013. So to summarize, a Golden Roshan bought in late 2012 for $100 sold at $10,000 for 125 Bitcoins at $80 per Bitcoin. Then those 125 Bitcoin were sold at $1,200 each for 150,000 US dollars real cash. And that stupid trader who bought thousands of dollars worth of Dota items, well, let's just say that $200,000 Dota inventory he had ended up being worth more than 1.5 million US dollars. I unfortunately have no idea where he is now. I guess he cashed out, looking for bigger fish to fry. Anyway, I have left some detail out of this story as I didn't want to make a 1-hour documentary. If you're interested in more videos like this regarding the history of Dota trading, the ridiculous scams and trading escapades that went on, please like and comment on this video. Make sure you subscribe. If this video receives enough views, I will make sure to make a part 2. I would like to recreate what happened on Dota 2 trading, and honestly it felt like the Wolf of Wall Street. Thank you very much for listening. Once again, my name is Jinzo, and I'll catch you next time.